How does one perform an internal audit in a company? Internal audit is a critical component of a company's internal control system and risk management framework. It is an independent and objective evaluation of a company's financial and operational activities that aims to assess the effectiveness of internal controls, ensure compliance with laws and regulations, and identify opportunities for improvement. Performing an internal audit is an important way for a company to monitor and improve its operations and maintain good governance practices. Steps to perform an internal audit. The first step in performing an internal audit is to determine the scope of the audit. This involves identifying the areas of the company that need to be audited and determining the objectives of the audit. The scope of the audit should be based on a risk assessment of the company's operations, as well as its financial, legal, and regulatory requirements. Once the scope of the audit has been defined, the next step is to plan the audit. This involves developing an audit plan that outlines the activities that need to be carried out during the audit, the resources required, and the timeline for completion. The audit plan should also outline the responsibilities of the internal auditor and the company management. The next step is to conduct the audit. This involves collecting information and evidence to assess the effectiveness of internal controls and to identify any potential risks or areas for improvement. During the audit, the internal auditor will typically review the company's financial and operational records, interview employees, and observe business processes. Once the audit has been completed, the internal auditor will prepare a report that summarizes the results of the audit. The report should detail any findings, recommendations for improvement, and any identified risks. The report should also outline any actions taken by the company in response to the findings of the audit. The final step in performing an internal audit is to follow up on the results of the audit. This involves monitoring the implementation of any recommendations made by the internal auditor and ensuring that the company is taking appropriate action to address any identified risks or areas for improvement. Benefits of performing an internal audit. 1. Improved internal controls. An internal audit helps to improve internal controls by identifying any weaknesses in the company's systems and processes. 1. This enables the company to take appropriate action to strengthen its controls and reduce the risk of fraud or errors. 2. Increased compliance. An internal audit helps to ensure compliance with laws and regulations by identifying any areas of non-compliance and making recommendations for improvement. 2. This helps the company to avoid potential penalties and legal action. 3. Enhanced risk management. An internal audit helps to enhance risk management by identifying potential risks and making recommendations for improvement. 3. This enables the company to take appropriate action to mitigate risks and reduce the impact of potential losses. An internal audit provides valuable information that can be used to make informed decisions about the company's operations. This information can be used to evaluate the efficiency of business processes, assess the performance of the company, and identify areas for improvement. An internal audit helps to improve governance by providing an independent and objective evaluation of the company's financial and operational activities. This helps to ensure that the company is operating in accordance with good governance practices and that the interests of stakeholders are protected. In conclusion, performing an internal audit in a company is a comprehensive process that involves evaluating the effectiveness and efficiency of the company's internal controls and procedures. It requires a systematic approach, proper planning, and documentation, as well as the use of appropriate audit techniques. The internal auditor must have a good understanding of the company's operations, systems, and processes to be able to identify potential risks and assess the effectiveness of the internal controls in place. The internal audit report must provide clear and actionable recommendations for improving the company's operations, reducing risks, and increasing efficiency. The internal audit process should be ongoing, and the internal auditor should communicate regularly with the company's management and board of directors to keep them informed of the audit results and to ensure that any identified issues are addressed promptly. By following these steps, companies can ensure that they are operating efficiently and effectively, and that they are well positioned to achieve their long-term goals and objectives.